What happens when you're not a mechanic, you're not a, you don't play with cars, and you don't know what you're doing really? What happens is you have to learn everything. I have to learn fuel injection. I've done it once before, but this is a 10-year-older system. I didn't even know what that was. An EDIS-4 ignition module. I mean, I bought that engine, and I wish now I had bought a 2.3 16-valve version, because it used a later ECU that I think has an internal ignition module. So I've gone back. If this engine's from 1994, I could have got an engine from a Mark 1 Galaxy from 2005. It's when they ended, 10 years later. So I implore you, if you're going this way, rear-wheel drive, just use an MT75 gearbox. Do that, Don't do this. Don't do the 8-valve. The 2.3 rear-wheel drive's got the balance shafts in the sump. You're going to have to buy one of these engines anyway. You're going to have to buy a Sierra rear-wheel drive engine just for the sump, and the oil pump drive. And the flywheel. Flywheel's different. This is a 215mm Pinto flywheel clutch setup in this. The MT575 bearing's different from a Type 9. We know that. But the only good saving grace is everything's EV1 plug, so the plugs are £1 each. But yeah, you're driving with 10-year-older, even though it's an EEC version 4 ECU, EEC version 5 ECU, it doesn't make any difference, because the ignition parts exterior, the Pats is brand new in 1993, 4 and 5 for Volkswagen and Ford. It's all new. So you're dealing with like the Pats box, the immobiliser box. It just existed in that 1 year. Anyway, I don't know. I've made myself a loom with all the same wire. I'm colourblind, so purple-brown would have got me. Green-brown would have got me anyway. But as long as you've got a marker pen and a white vinyl tape, you can do it. I wired it up for the old ECU, you see, and the old pinouts, but it changed. The pinouts changed. Pinouts changed. Where did the pinouts change? For this EDIS-4 box. And the only information I've got is this from the man on the Granada Scorpio site. It's telling me that the barometric air pressure sensor goes to pin 34. So this barometric air pressure sensor goes to pin 34 on the ECU. I hope it works. That's that. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I don't mind making a door panel, but trying to figure out. See if you can do this yourself, okay? Right? I knew that was a rear-wheel drive engine, so I bought it just because I had the gearbox. I had no ECU wiring, didn't know anything about it at all. Never seen an engine before, never actually touched one of these engines before in my life. Knew it was the same as a Mark 1 Galaxy, okay? Even though that engine's a 2-litre Scorpio 8-valve engine, right? So I bought the Galaxy Mark 1 ECU and stuff to run a Scorpio engine, okay, on a transit gearbox. So that engine was in a Mark 5 petrol Smiley Transit and a Mark 1 Galaxy and a Scorpio. So he's saying, why are you going to all this trouble? And it's simply this area here, the steering box and the engine mount and the starter motor being down low and it being a 4-pot and the stick being forward and it having a flanged output for a 2-piece prop shaft and it being a 5-speed gearbox and it being 80 quid The whole engine was 300. I mean, if I'm, I know I haven't, you know, like that, I would have paid 20 quid for that. You know, I've got another one. I paid 70 quid for these sensors, but, you know, because I want the EGR valve and the EVAP valve and the pressure sensor for the EGR, and I've got a spare ignition module, you see, 70 quid. Now the engine mounts cost me 30 quid. Fair enough, you know, I bought a whole new downpipe just to get this. I bought the whole downpipe with the counterfeit, what do they call them things that the exhaust goes through that don't do anything? Oh, cat. I've got a cat, like a counterfeit cat. I'm still going to fit it, but it doesn't fit this setup because it comes from a Scorpio. But I'm going to wangle it in. Beauty of this engine is it's only got one HEGO. It's got a post-cat HEGO. It's got a pre-cat HEGO, heat exhaust gas oxygen sensor. These funky old-fashioned ignition coils, you see, the technology's moved on. You don't realise because you're not a mechanic. You see what I mean? You don't play with cars all the time. You know, the 16 valve version of this engine, just the head's different. The block is exactly the same. The spark plug is in there, and you could have a coil-on plug rather than the plug from the side. But you know, it's money. You go and buy a 2.3 Transit engine, petrol. They're so rare, they command £1,000. You know, a Galaxy engine. They're still 20 years old and they're still 800 quid. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing, and it's annoying because I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I want everything stock. I want the vent. I want the tank to be vented through the inlet manifold. I want the exhaust gas recirculation valve for cold starting, and just I like things stock exhaust manifold, everything's stock. I don't even like this. I don't even like this air filter. I made this intake out of a prop shaft. You see where it steps down here? That's the end of a prop shaft. But it just looks monkey. I want the original Scorpio airbox, you know, and air filters. But you can't find them. Anyways, I've just got to get it running because I've done it before with an ST170. Someone else had already worked out the wiring. I mean, I extended the loom, but still, you know, I kind of half know what I'm doing, but I don't. Okay, if you haven't fallen asleep, I'll end it there. Thank you, please.